Hello, I'm MC Toon. Welcome to Toon's Day Night. And this is a special one. I've got right here the Conspiracist. And following that, double hop over is Riley. No, sorry, that's Craig. Get out of there, Riley. There we go. It's Craig. And you'll notice I spelled Craig right. Craig. C-R-E-G. It's on the screen. C-R-E-G. Craig. This is titled The Logistics of Flat Earth, and it came from an idea by the Conspiracist here, who you can find the link to his channel in the description, and also Craig, but never mind him. The Conspiracist is the man of the hour. We're going to be talking about, here, they couldn't hear you. It didn't matter because the Conspiracist didn't say anything yet.
I can hear.
There we go.
Yeah, I can hear. I'll just yeah.
All right. Now Craig is unmuted.
Yay!
Which, I mean, who cares? It was all about the Conspiracist. So, all right, Conspiracist, would you like to introduce your... wait, let's first introduce Craig. There's Craig. Conspiracist, please introduce your idea, what we're talking about today in the topic.
I often wonder when you hear conspiracy theorists talking, in particular flat earthers. Because flat earth is the most cartoon-esque, in my opinion. Other than just thinking about, like, you get people rightly so disproving their science and stuff like that, or their lack of science, for lack of a better term. I like to reverse engineer it the other way around and think to myself, what would it take to actually pull off what they do? And I really don't think any of them have quite considered the infinite logistical hurdles of hiding space and hiding like volcanoes and such like, and the logistics of what GPS means to the world, So I thought it'd be quite funny to just talk about it and reverse engineer it, I suppose.
Toon, was this conversation sanctioned by HR?
I thought you were asking.
Oh God, no! Not when I don't go into the office when Karen's there. You remember what happened last time?
Oh yeah, Betty's on vacation. I'm not talking to Karen.
Ah, okay.
Well, we'll have to.
That's a problem with future Craig and Toon. Yeah, never mind.
Fix it.
Those guys don't like us very much. No, you're right though. It is something they don't consider because there's so much to hold, to hide. There's everything. I often say that to be a flat earther, you have to believe that everyone's lying to you. You have to believe that everyone in government is lying to you. You have to believe that every teacher is lying to you, every pilot, every boat captain, every astronomer, every scientist, they're all lying to you. And for all those people that have to be lying to you to be able to keep a cohesive argument together, and it's mathematically improbable. And there's actually been studies done on how long you could hide this kind of secret, and they came up with a formula that basically said that the moon landing hoax would have been revealed in 3.7 years. Mathematically, with how many people would have had to be involved, it couldn't have been kept secret for any more than 3.7 years. And I think something like flat earth is bigger than the moon landing hoax. And we've had people for hundreds of years pushing this, from Samuel Roboth, and so they don't consider how big it is and how difficult it is to hide something like this, especially when most humans are fucking idiots. Sorry, language.
Well, half of them are less than average intelligence.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, flat earth in particular. I had a friend say to me recently, we were just having a bit of an exercise, and he was like, I'm going to put two conspiracy theories here and just tell me which one you think is the most ridiculous or implausible. And flat earth basically came out on top of them all. I think there's more sinister ones and there's more dangerous and horrible ones. But in terms of like likelihood of being real, flat earth is actually, it's just fantasy stuff. It's, I can believe that 3.7 years because, I mean, when we have been lied to about stuff like searching for weapons of mass destruction, that came out eventually. Do you know what I mean? You can't fool everyone forever. And to think that the technology it would take right now to cover all this up didn't exist when they said it started to be covered up. It just doesn't add up. The timeline.
It's often said that it would have been more expensive to fake the moon landings than to actually go to the moon.
Well, for flat Earth, if the moon is local, it wouldn't be that difficult to get there. Many flat earthers say that the moon is inside the clouds. You just need a helicopter or a balloon you could just use a drone to get there.
So
according to
when
them,
pilots are training, is there a section that's specifically titled Avoiding the Moon?
There must be.
Yeah.
if only they could be consistent. Because the same flurfs will talk about the moon being the height of clouds, and also that talk about how fast it moves and it does this inner circles and outer circles and stuff. But if it was in the clouds, it would be moving 1,000 miles an hour minimum. But you don't see that. You just look at it and it just looks like it's not even moving at all. That doesn't work. Which one is it?
And that's something that you would have to hide, not just from, it's not only people in high-end military and government that can get hold of a radar gun and point it at the moon, And if the moon's in our atmosphere, it's not going to take an extremely powerful radar to be able to ping it or even bounce a radio signal off of it or something. And the amount of independent ham radio operators that exist around the world, hiding something specifically like that, the moon being small and local.
All right, so this is a good topic, good one to go to. So ham radio operators, amateurs, can buy the equipment that they necessary to do an EME, an Earth-Moon-Earth transmission. Send a signal, your own voice, aim it at the moon, and receive a bounce back, and you hear yourself echoed back. So what would it take to fake that?
Right. Well, you would have to have technology that could intercept every radio signal, no matter the direction it's coming from. Because, of course, on a flat Earth, the angle that every radio dish would have to point to do this would be different compared to the Earth. So you would have to have something that not only intercepts the radio signals, but changes the apparent direction that they're going, alters the time taken to then send back the signal to match it to what it would be if the moon was really 250,000 miles away, including the correct amount of degradation of the signal. And it would have to be able to do this for possibly millions of signals all at the same time, 24 hours a day.
Well, yeah, obviously there aren't millions of people doing it at the same time, but you don't know where or when they might be doing it. So you have to have it set up everywhere all the time. And it has to be physically located between you, where every person is, and where the moon is, because you just look at the moon. You just point your antenna at the moon. A lot of these are directional antennas.
Yeah.
So and not see it. So whatever it is that's intercepting it, if the moon if the moon is 4,000 miles high, or if the moon is in the clouds, whichever way, or there's a dome, whichever one of those propositions, it has to be invisible and be in the way all the time. How's that happen, Flatties?
No.
While you think about that, I've got a super chat from Stacy's mom for 56.
Going on,
says, yes, just wanted you to know I've still got it going on. And I can attest that Stacy's mom still has it going on. And that reminds me,
that's now in my head. Thank you. Great. I'm just going to hear that constantly for the next week.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And also, Dora Unku says, OMG, because she is apparently a teenage girl. A Brian, get your face palm protection ready. That's right. Brian Kirby is the Conspiracist.
He's amazing.
He is. And so if you haven't yet subscribed to him, Shame on you. The link's in the description. Go do it right now.
We have had possible plans to do something together, Steve, haven't we? It's just not quite come together yet.
Yeah, it's well, as I said, I was near you last year.
Yeah.
Just it was quite a last minute journey, and even this year, I don't know if I'm going to be able to come after all. Like I sort of go visit my mates in their office once a year, but it's still on for the debate. I'm filming the feature length now, so
Nice.
yeah, it's coming up all right. I'm currently in the process of. The other day, I found myself around charity shops of Brighton, just finding out random little bits of shit that I could put into my as prop, put into my sort of conspiracy theorist HQ. The wackier the better. And I've got some beauties you find in charity shops. You know?
Yeah, I imagine there would be.
I now own a set of pocket binoculars.
Oh, the main tool of every flat earther. How else do you look at the horizon?
Oh my gosh, that's basically a poor man's P1000 right there.
Yeah. I mean, this is the 1000 that can't be hacked by the government, basically, right?
Yeah.
Now, how likely do you think it is that Flat Earth is just a marketing ploy of Nikon?
Well,
sorry?
Did you agree that Flat Earth could just be a marketing ploy of Nikon cameras?
it could be. Yeah, I think they were like, "Hey, Canon is doing really well," and the Nikon executives are like, "What could we do to get some sales of this camera that has a lot of zoom but is kind of crap at a sensor?" Well, let's convince all the flirfs that they need to buy one.
Yeah, I think everything else is actually quite plausible. You know, if you believe in, if you were to believe in certain things. My favourite, I mean, you touched on it earlier, but you've got these different camps almost. You've got people that think it's domed, people that think it's got an ice wall, like the next level, the way they sort. That's probably the coolest one, to be honest. I'd quite like it if there was Asgard and other places with infinite resources and like a utopia, the other side of an ice wall.
Yeah, you climb over it.
It'd be fun, but their logic falls flat when they put the entire responsibility of its safety on a platoon of penguins. When they suggest that you can go to see this peninsula in the Antarctica, but as soon as you do, you get met with hostility in the form of mechanical penguins that are defending the place.
Well, they're mechanical now.
It's quite a lot of responsibility for a mechanical penguin, isn't it? When you think about it,
Zip it.
Like,
That's secret.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to stop them. Yeah, I know this is all coming off as a joke, but look, well, what can we talk about? Right. So not the new base. Okay, right, fine. I'll tell them. Yeah, guys, can we stop the talk about the penguins, please? That's
right.
a bit too close. And
Hold on.
yeah, sorry.
You guys are gonna have to put your sunglasses on. Just a sec. Can you got your sunglasses ready?
Yeah, I'll just cover my eyes.
Cover your eyes there, conspiracist. All right, people. We were talking about what were we talking about?
Oh, how cute this kitten is. Do you see? He's
There?
gorgeous,
Oh.
isn't he?
That is what we were talking about.
Yeah. Definitely not secret penguins and stuff. Anyway, what?
All right. So all right. So we talked about the. I know you have a list that you'd started writing there, Brian. But the logistics of faking an EME. What else is there?
Faking a what? Sorry.
We talked about the logistics of faking an Earth-Moon-Earth bounce by the amateur ham radio operators. A complete technological impossibility. What else were you? You had kind of a list of things you said, right?
I mean, the dome is one that cracks me up. It's how long's this dome been there for? Because some of them imply that that's like been man-made. I mean, you've got those camps where some of them it all relies on being the space being fake, doesn't it? And
Yes.
I don't think they say it's man-made. I think that they say it was put there by the creator to, you know, make a perfectly contained environment for us. But there's so many problems with the mere, however it was put there, just the mere existence of there being a dome is massively flawed, because a dome would suggest that at some point it touches the ground, right?
Yes.
Which would mean that the closer to that point where it touches the ground, the lower in altitude the edge of the dome would be. But, you know, you go towards Antarctica, there isn't, you know,
it doesn't start coming down.
Exactly. You know, there's just zero evidence at all of there being a dome, apart from people going, oh, look, rainbows occur.
But it also must rotate once a day.
Yeah. Oh, but it also must rotate in different directions to have the stars that are projected on it right directions depending on where you're looking at it from,
that
right?
doesn't seem to make sense. But but it has to rotate once a day. And what's the circumference at where the dome touches? Well, it's certainly larger than the circumference at the equator by a large amount. So it's not going at 1,000 miles an hour. It has to go significantly faster than 1,000 miles an hour. This entire dome, how big is it? How heavy is it? And the whole structure has to rotate at more than 1,000 miles an hour.
I don't know of any material that has the structural density to do that.
That's insane. Well, and then of course they say that there's water behind it. There's water is above it. So not the massive weight.
Would be like probably, I don't know, several million tons, possibly 1 billion tons more, right?
More.
Yeah. And not only does it have to support its own weight, it would also have to support the weight of an infinite ocean above it.
Yeah, however big it is.
Because there is, for some reason, this universal down that exists, of course, because, you know, reasons.
So, and then, of course, if there's water above it, see now their explanation, here's their explanation. It doesn't actually rotate. The stars are projected onto it. Right?
From what?
But there's water behind it. Where are they? Where's the projection from? The outside of the dome in the water?
From Steve's back garden. So how would they hide? What would be the logistics of hiding something as massive as a dome then be, Steve, do you think? You know, considering that it would, the further it got towards the edge or Antarctica, the easier it would be to see. You know, how do you hide something like that from the entire world?
For that reason, the only plausible, not that we're living in reality when we talk about this, but the only plausible thing in reality would be that on the side of outside of an ice wall, it's just that much further away from us. So you got us in the middle, the ice wall, and then the dome might start there. But still, it's the maintenance of it that really gets me. Like, something's going to happen to it at some point. And like you say, you've got all that weight of the water. Something's going to crack eventually. You'd end up having to have a degree in university specifically for
dome maintenance. I got a bachelor in dome fixing. Yeah. But it's not just the fixing, though, is it? Because let's face it, as a society, we put a hell of a lot of pollutants into the air, which would mean the dome would get dirty. Now, depending on the size of the flat Earth, you know, you could calculate the square meter footage of the inside of the dome, and then figure out how long it would take to clean all that, and how many people.
Well, obviously, you wouldn't clean it. You just couldn't. So however it exists would exist without cleaning it. But yeah, they say, have you heard them say that the reason why the sky is blue because there's water above, and water is blue, which it really isn't quite blue, but give them that for a second. But then why, when you go up in elevation, does the dome turn black?
Magic?
Because all the high altitude balloons, when they go very high, the dome, you know, the sky isn't blue anymore when you get high. It's black.
No.
Obviously, I can only imagine there's some sort of. It's the least of our worries, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
But if you think about the fact that we've got air travel, right? So every single airplane has radar and stuff, and there is quite a lot of flights in the southern hemisphere. Not as many as the northern hemisphere, but there's a lot of flights in the southern hemisphere. And there's going to be a point where the dome is at the same height that the planes usually fly, around 30,000 feet, and their radar would be constantly pinging it. They would always be getting echoes and stuff. So
that would have to be near the edge.
Yeah, but
right. So that's why I suppose they would explain. That's why they think there aren't any flights that go over the North Pole, which of course is wrong.
But remember, at the edge is where it's touching the ground.
Yes.
Right. So at what point would it be that the edge of the dome is at, say, 30,000 feet?
It would have to be significantly past 90 degrees south.
Yeah. So where airplanes fly, really?
No. Not past 90 degrees south.
Sorry.
They have to invent. They invent that it's farther out, right? So 110 degrees, 120 degrees south, something like that.
So how high would the top, the middle of the dome be above the equator, or above the North Pole? Sorry,
they don't know, but they certainly will show you pictures and videos that they think of planes or rockets hitting it. So Shane St. Pierre said 73 miles was what he thought.
73 miles. It amazes me as well where rockets can hit a dome which is strong enough to hold back water and doesn't explode. That's always fun.
Well, they're like it's solidified helium-3. Right? They're like it's some form of matter that doesn't actually have the properties that you've attributed to the dome, but that's definitely what they think it is.
So there's so much to hide. There's so many problems with there being a dome, regardless of height.
How could something hit the dome at hundreds of miles an hour and not just get destroyed?
It all relies on having like hundreds of thousands of people that are all happy to learn about this conspiracy, but also at the same time and simultaneously. Because I imagine you've kind of got to like sign your life away, haven't you? Argument's sake, we're living in a parallel universe where this is real. You've got a bunch of people that have signed their lives away because they're happy to help you perpetuate the lie, even though there's no end result for them. There's no end game. They don't really get rewarded. They can't share that reward with the world. It relies on some highly skilled people going, do you know what? Yeah, like I'm happy to have my wife and kids or husband and kids just embroiled in on this thing, take them off into an isolated, because you'd have to have some sort of living facility for these people to actually just function, just keep them away from society. And then on top of that, who someone's going to be providing them with supplies and food. Do they get Netflix subscriptions as part of their job? You want to keep them sort of a bit occupied.
Well,
and then
NASA has one Netflix subscription that they all share.
They will share it. That's quite a bundle. That
the reason why Netflix are doing the whole not allowed to share passwords anymore is basically NASA.
Yeah, that makes sense. Then you'll have, you got all these people that will have to just be self-sufficiently living somewhere on some sort of sustainable complex. Kind of like, is it called Apple Park or Google Park or something? Which is the one that they all live on, Silicon Valley? Is that what I'm thinking of?
So what?
Well, there's a lot of people that live in, or am I thinking of that there's a new project coming up in United Arab Emirates. Maybe it's like a purpose-built complex where everyone just lives and sort of.
Oh, you're talking about the 75-mile long skyscraper that they're building.
No, it's not something. It's called Octagon in Neom. It's like where the Suez Canal is, and it's going to be like a center of interest. Yeah, a center of innovation.
Yeah, I saw like some Saudis talking about that.
Yeah, so you'd have to have a complex that big that everyone's happy to just go live on. They'd need their own facilities. They need their own amenities, sanitary products, that sort of thing. I want to know who does the tampons for the Flat Earth Day maintenance team. Do you know what I mean?
Is there companies that are specifically set up to, look after these people, or do they have their own franchises of McDonald's in these villages? Because the amount of people have to be doing, are they just slaves?
Maybe it is like Neom. the octagon, and it is just where they're making everything for themselves somehow. Everything they need, they've got the facilities to make.
So basically, their entire existence is there purely to hide the flat Earth from people.
Yeah, it would just be so much more cost effective to go.
It
Yeah,
would.
do you know what? I just fall for a bit there, didn't we?
Yeah,
Just
only kidding, guys.
There would have to be to the number of people involved. You'd have to have basically they'd all have to live outside the dome, maybe, right? Maybe they live in the other lands and then they commute to work through teleporters because Tartarian technology is more advanced.
That's the whole theory of there being other worlds. That's my favourite. That's my favourite because it is just fantasy stuff, isn't it? And I like the idea of there being just like other realms spectating us from afar, just going, look at these fans.
We're the reality TV.
They don't realise it's flat. What a bunch of
Oh, look at these idiots! They think it's a globe. Oh my god!
All right, let me read this. We got David DeRinzo says for $5, Nikon is one of my clients. It's Nikon, Craig. Nikon is one of my clients, and I can confirm they don't endorse taking out of focus pictures of stars with their products. Agreed. And then Dora Unku says for €2, everybody has a personal Dom/Domie. Dame?
Dome.
Dominatrix? I'm not sure what she means by that.
There's a real flat earther in the chat just spouting the normal nonsense.
Oh, yeah. YouTube. Fiber optic gyroscopes do not drift from so-called Earth rotation. Well, of course they do. Mechanical gyroscopes should drift, but they don't. Well, they actually do. 2 lies.
That's amazing.
Gotta light a Flerf.
Yeah. It's amazing. I got the video of Stefan P's mechanical gyroscope, working. This one here. Look at this mechanical gyroscope detecting the drift of Earth's rotation. Looks amazing. Apparently, it doesn't exist though.
Thanks, Bob. Well, Bob doesn't want that to exist either. He wants to.
No. Bob tried to make that go away.
I do kind of love how this ridiculous notion as well that you've got we've all got to understand everything in order to believe it. Like, I've had people say to me, like, are you seriously telling me you're happy to take the words of experts? Like, yes, yes, I understand what it is to be an expert. It's not they're not playing games. This is not like, that's what consensus is. You can just look that word up. It's not, no one on this planet, I reckon, there's a statistic, something along the lines of, I reckon stuff, I don't know anything. No one on this planet probably knows more than 1% of the available knowledge that exists. You know what I mean? Like if you think fraction, it's not going to be 1%, it's going to be 0.0001. So really, none of us know anything in the grand scheme of things. We've all got to at some point go, they know what they're doing, or everyone else has sort of peer reviewed someone's works, and you've got to, you do, yes, I am happy to just take someone else's work, but I don't, as such, have to.
They're called experts for a reason, right? They're called experts for a reason.
Well,
yeah, it's something like 10,000 hours of study before you're an expert, isn't it?
I think it's clear that to a Flerf, they have never developed any level of expertise in any topic.
Oh no, I reckon
that's how they're able to handwave dismiss expertise.
Perhaps. I mean, Dunning-Kruger's very real, as we all know, and I've definitely fallen. I remember being a young bartender, and obviously not the most complex of careers, but it was something I did dedicate a couple of decades to. Being like 21, doing it for 3 years, I'm like, I've been really into this. I've studied this a lot. I know there's not a lot more to know than what I know, kind of thing. Just being a naive kid. It can happen with anything. It doesn't mean someone, I'm so glad just hearing that term and reflecting on just the way I look at information over my, formative years. And it's fine to just go, I got a bit ahead of myself there. If you think you plateaued in a subject, you're just going to blindly ignore it, like new information comes to light, aren't you? You've always got to sort of be open-minded, and it's just fine to go, someone else knows more than me about something. this ridiculous notion that if you don't understand it yourself, otherwise where would we get? We wouldn't be able to do anything. No one would be able to drive a car. Or only mechanics could drive cars if we can only rely on something that we understood fully.
Yeah.
All right. There's very.
Yeah, you're not allowed to operate a microwave unless you've got intimate knowledge of radiation and how the microwave was created. You're not allowed to use the internet unless you can yourself put together a fiber optic pathway and some kind of network of servers. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, and yeah, I still always remember. No one's too smart to fall for this stuff, that kind of logic. I remember on Brent Lee. Do you know Brent Lee? His channel. He's really good. I saw him saying something recently, and it was about someone said to him, "Conspiracy theorists and conspiracists are one and the same. We just use them interchangeably in this context." And he went, "Well, no, that's not true at all." And I never thought about this when I called my character the conspiracist. But what he said was, a conspiracy theorist is someone who believes in some conspiracy theories. A conspiracist is somebody who sees the world as a conspiracy. Like everything they see, everything they engage with, everything they interact with every day. Like, I've not been called a shill as much as you guys, but you just run with it and just make it a joke. But it's like the very idea that they're going to go and micromanage this big ploy to such level where you pay random people around the world, some in Fife, some in Minnesota, some all over, just to make YouTube content, just to sow the seeds of doubt. It's a bit far-fetched. They can't even cover up Boris Johnson getting a refurb on his flat at taxpayers' expense, and daft stuff like that. Him getting a blowy in the Foreign Office. It's mad. But it is mad, isn't it? It's all.
Yeah, I mean, those kinds of things are so much less important than so much easier to cover up. 2 people involved is it, and they couldn't cover it up.
You told him. That's what's happened there. He's moved out of his office, Boris, and gone, "I never guess what Carrie just did."
All right, let me read a couple things here. We got Many Karen says, MC Toon, do you also know who the F is Alice? Which is a Stacy's mom thing.
Alice? Who the fuck is Alice?
All right, let's see. I have the original. Cats sent me the original. I have the original bits of that. It's an AVI file. Yeah. David DiRenzo says for $5, how does NASA drive so much compliance? Where are the whistleblowers? Where are the Snowdens, Navalins, and I don't know these names. I only know Snowden, Navalins, and Kashhagas of the Globeli. Well, apparently the Flerfs they're just like, please hope. Oh, please, one of them come out. Not gonna happen.
Yeah. But what they get is someone that used to be a janitor, that claims they worked at NASA, and they think the Earth is flat. Oh, a NASA employee says the Earth is flat.
Or a comedian who is definitely a comedian in Matt Boylan, whose first entry into the topic was obviously very poor comedy. And who says that he used to work at NASA, but then his ex-girlfriend said no, he just lied about that.
I'm a dumb flat earther, and I don't understand science.
You let Riley in.
Dang it. I got another one here from the Sun Express says, how to Flerfs know Flatardia is the right way up? That's a good question. How do they know which way's up?
I don't think they have a bottom. At least in a lot of models.
Who was it? Somebody said, was it? Oh, I can't remember who it was. There's too many Flerf videos I watch. It might have been CC. but said that the deepest that was ever dug was 12 miles, right? And he thought that was because if you go any farther, you'll poke through the bottom. He really thought that.
Oh God, bless him.
Where's your like? I mean, like, I make no secret of not understanding any of the actual science or maths a lot of, but I can just. What, have you got a centre of back? Like, so you, this is the disc, and this is the 12 miles. What if it gets too heavy over here? What if like New York that's over here ends up developing too much, and the skyscrapers just? What happens? Where's the center? You know, where's the point in which
tip? Yeah.
Gonna tip?
Well, that's what they don't like anyone to know. That's actually how the dinosaurs got extinct.
They got...
When a meteor hit one side, it split the disc, and they all got flung off.
And then perhaps there was like a seesaw effect where the rest of them just went.
Yeah,
the water sloshed around a whole bunch. Yeah.
Do any flat earthers like? I've just been prattling around lately, learning about the extinction events, and some of the ones that involved continents splitting up, and that messing with the ecosystem too much. And you know, does anyone ever talk about what it was like before that, or does that not exist in flat Earth world?
Well, most flat earthers are also young Earth creationists. Not all of them, but the large majority that I've seen. So they think that it all came into existence about 6,000 years ago.
Oh, of course.
So, and you'll find a huge overlap with flat earthers and dino deniers.
Yeah, I can imagine.
All right, let me read a couple more here. We got Jiffy Cones for $5 says, have you seen the classic Disney movie Atlantis, The Lost Empire? That explains our dome. Disney put Pluto on Pluto. Connect the dots.
God's sakes, we're going to get put down.
Dang, just as long as, could somebody like send Karen some flowers at NASA HR so she's distracted? And then
I flowers, but she was allergic to the lilacs, and it was a whole thing. Now flowers are banned from the second floor.
Oh,
yeah.
Tommy Gronvald says Scratch did it. From Ice Age. Let's see. I'm looking for. I want to see if if Heat Shield. All right.
I haven't got kids, but that's the little squirrel with a nut in it.
Yeah.
All right. We got second best.
To watch the stage.
Second best. Bob said for £5. Anything to say about Una Rock? He's been talking about you two.
Who?
Uni. Is it Uni Rock?
I Rock.
Uni. I don't know.
Obviously not important.
Nope. Yeah, nothing. I love how the flat earthers, the only thing they can do is repeat their mantras. So we got YouTube in the chat here says, let's see. The sun always appears 3 to 4 times higher than a high altitude balloon that is 20 miles. This covers all balloon footage, all times of day, all locations, all years. No, it doesn't. Not even close, because I personally measured the angular elevation of the sun on both solstices, and it was 45 degrees angular elevation.
Why do I have a flat earther called Franz telling me he knows the sun is small and local because it was below his plane?
Oh dear. So
that kind of link
up,
right. Is it?
Ute, show me the math on this, Ute. I am more than 3,000 miles away from the Tropic of Cancer. And at 45 degrees, that means that the sun is 3,000 miles in elevation, not 3 to 4 times more than a hot air balloon. That's a lot more. Show me the math on that there, buddy. Never will.
That's M-A-T-H, not M-E-T-H.
Yes, flat earthers and math. That's funny.
Math. No.
Did you see John Refracted Curvature on Nathan Oakley claimed? Make sure you're sitting, people at home. If you're standing up and you fall over, it's not my fault.
I'm sitting.
He claimed that the Haversine formula, the
Trigonometric.
That's the one.
Trigonometric formula for calculating spherical triangles.
Yes, it's sine and cosine, right? It's trigonometry on the surface of a sphere. He claimed that it's calculus.
Wait, so this is the guy with 2 engineering degrees, one in mechanical, one in electrical.
Yes, no less than 6 years of
9 months of calculus, at least the first time round for mechanical engineering.
Well, no,
and then a whole bunch specific more for the electrical engineering.
Well, it's actually you begin calculus your first semester or quarter of school as a freshman, and you never stop doing calculus. The entire electrical engineering program is calculus. 4 years of it. And once you get a degree in that, then you go to get, I don't know why you'd go and get a bachelor's in mechanical engineering. I would figure you'd want to get a master's in mechanical engineering because it takes this much time. You might as well just go for the master's. But then it's just...
He said he had the mechanical first and then got the electrical.
The order, I don't know. Yeah. He just said a dual degree and then 2, and I don't know. But it's 6 years of calculus is what it is. And he's so good at calculus that he doesn't know that Haversine is not calculus.
Yeah, and he also doesn't know that, the first derivative of a curve is a what? What tune?
The slope.
Oh yeah, to find out the tangent point of a slope at any point and calculate angle curved surfaces. Oh yeah, the specific thing you probably learn in the first week of calculus.
Yeah, well, maybe the second. Let's give him benefit of the time.
So honestly, one of the dumbest things that he's saying is though that you can have an angle from a straight line to a curved surface, but not from a curved surface to a straight line.
I don't know why you could not measure.
They're a different thing.
All right, so somebody made a good point. 9NNELG says there are dual major bachelor's programs. There are, but the way he worded it doesn't make me think that. He said he had a dual bachelor's degrees in mechanical engineering and electrical engineering.
Yeah,
which suggests to me that he has 2 independent degrees. Maybe that's wrong, and maybe it is a single bachelor's degree that's a dual study, which would maybe instead of be 6 years would maybe be 5 years, because you can't just get away with not covering the required material for your EE program and your ME program. There isn't, in your last 2 years, there isn't much overlap.
Is it a possibility that he helped someone at school rewire a plug and got a participation certificate?
Could be. My roommate in college, I was majoring in electrical engineering. He was majoring in mechanical engineering. Our first 2 years, we had a huge amount of the same classes. After that, none. Not one single class was the same class.
No. Electrical engineering is maths. The majority of electrical engineering is doing very specific maths, learning about how circuits interact with each other, how changing different components in circuits can change what's happening, learning about resonant frequencies. They're everything to do with electrical engineering is math. So yeah, which kind of comes back to how do we hide the flat Earth if the Earth is flat, right? Because if you've actually done all this maths and all this engineering, then you're going to figure out on your own that the Earth is flat, if it is, right? Yeah. If you're good at physics and you're good at engineering, and you're a generally smart person, you're going to figure out that the Earth is flat. So if there's all this effort in hiding the flat Earth, why aren't the flat earthers that have figured it out being hidden? Steve, what do you think?
I mean, regarding the education, the point about everyone learning, by themselves, it would mean that they'd have to hijack the education system at a really early point in order to make everyone learn the incorrect way. And I mean, what was your actual question? Because I just wanted to get that.
Right. How do you the fact is, if you're smart enough and you've done your degrees and you've studied physics, etc., how do you? You're going to figure out if the Earth is flat, then you're going to figure out. So, and that's, I guess, why there's so many flat earthers, because they're smarter than everybody else and they figured it out, right? So if the flat Earth is being hidden, and there's all this effort in hiding the flat Earth, why aren't the flat earthers being hidden?
Because they've got superpowers. That's just, it's the only plausible explanation. But that is another thing. Yeah, like you can hide anything. You can hide the shape of the Earth. You can hide the fact that there's a dome. You can hide the fact you can make space up. But Bob, with his YouTube channel, he's too much. You know what I mean? Like, you can't silence the man on the street, but you can completely manipulate the rest of, because they're in the 1% of people who can see this sort of thing. What was I watching? Like The Next Level, and I assume you've both seen The Next Level.
Yes.
Yeah.
The bit after 20 minutes or so where one of the main fellas, he was with an elderly lady, and she was born in like 1918 or something, and he was like, and what were you taught in school? And she's like, the Earth's flat. And then, aside from the fact that I found it quite uncomfortable, aside from that, she was clearly just a bit, she got a little bit sting on or something like that.
Yeah.
I just felt like he was just sort of making her say stuff. But he said, how did that make you feel to find out that you know the truth? She was like, very special. And he was like, exactly.
Like life meant something. Like,
I bet it does.
He was feeding her this stuff.
I mean, I've been angry at flat earthers quite often, but that was one of the times where I kind of felt rage with what he was doing. I wanted to go and rip him away from that old. How can dare you?
If that was my relative, I would have hunted him down. I would have beat the piss out of him. You don't do that.
For goodness sake, I've explained this to you at least 1,000 times. The Cavendish experiment, the moon was acting on the entire apparatus at the same time, which meant that we could independently then measure the attractive force between the two masses.
Is that YouTube again?
Yes.
Oh, so dumb.
He says the Cavendish experiment isn't an acceptable experiment because they didn't shield it from the moon.
You don't need to. The torsion wire that it's being hung from automatically compensates for it. So dumb. You are so dumb. All right. Hold on. I got a couple more here. Steve6464 says Uni Rock, see Mr. Sensible's newest video. Whoever this Uni Rock is, we'll have to.
Sounds icky.
I don't know. Oh wait, he used to do stuff. I didn't know he existed still. Oh well. You remember that guy? He just has a giant ego and feeds off of negative attention.
Nah.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, you'll figure it out.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Many Karen for 15 shekels says Flirfs keep using the same memes. I demand that unless they come up with new material, their status as the funniest show in town be revoked. Oh, that's getting cut off a little bit, Craig.
The message comes across.
How is old Nathan? What's he up to?
Oh, well.
He's moved on to soft sit stuff lately, and apparently fell off a cycle and got really quite hurt, and then angry that no one would give him money because he didn't have it.
He didn't get really hurt. He scuffed his hand.
Oh, and he was acting like he had a week in hospital.
I saw pictures. It was like his hand got scuffed because he was on his motorized.
Is he still doing brain tracking?
I don't know. He apparently stole money from Austin Whitsitt and burned all of his Flirf bridges, so that dried up his source of income.
He's had to find another way.
Yeah. Arwen, have you heard from Nathan Thompson recently?
And I still don't have a freaking 1,000 subscribers. What the hell's going on?
Not what I asked you, but okay.
All right. Let's see. Vincent Florquin for €4.99 said, "Have you heard Flurf's Sky Daddy is actually Q? Must have been drunk when implementing the GIS system for NATO."
Q. Q from James Bond or Q from Star Trek?
It's euros. It's in euros, so I don't know. So Q is
Well,
more of an American thing. That Q.
Oh, that's the Q conspiracy.
Yeah,
I think
Q
he's
from
trying to imply that
Q
there
from
was a
Star
powerful
Trek. Let's go with that one.
Right, Q from Star Trek. Right. Well, he's dead now, so
Shh, I haven't seen that.
well, I tell you what, I just don't watch season 2 of Picard. It's probably not worth it.
Oh, I'm going to. I'm still going to. All right.
Yeah, okay.
Oh.
Finish Stranger Things first.
Yeah. Well, listen to
I'm a
this.
stupid flat earther, right? And I'm just a loser.
Oops. Who let Nathan? Not Nathan. Nathan's clone in.
Which one's Nathan's clone?
That Austin Whitsitt.
Is he in here?
Yeah.
I'm a
I'll send
stupid
him the
flat
link.
earther, right? And I'm just a loser.
All right, I got to read a few more here. We got the Sun Express says for $5, Bob Super Noodle Doodle Poodle has 13 more degrees than John, the non-engineer. Surely he'd know the math.
Bagaki. I'm an idiot. I'm a stupid moron with an ugly face and a big butt, and my butt smells. And I'd like to kiss my own butt. I'm an idiot. Bagaki.
When Cracker was on here, he actually made that sound that Kiwi makes in his script. He scripted out making the Kiwi chicken sound.
Bagaki.
It was scripted. Oh. All right. Indie Tiger Sci-Fi Review says for $5, if water can't stick to the globe Earth, then how does it stick to the supposed dome? It's a great question, YouTube. You need to answer. Flirfs don't answer questions. All they do is think that they ask questions that don't make sense for the globe, but it's just their lack of understanding. Greg Edmund for $5 says too, did you ever get back to CC about his space suit silliness? I did. I sent him an email a couple days later with a reference to the spacesuit stuff, because the Flurfs, they can't understand that it's possible for a material to not just arbitrarily expand under low pressure. They also don't understand pressure, because the pressure of our air pressure here on the Earth isn't a huge difference from 0.01.
No. Like
So-
it makes me laugh. They're like, oh, the tires on the Tesla should have exploded, right? Well, my tires are pumped up to 39, 40 psi, right? And they could probably cope with up to about 65, maybe more.
You could
The
easily
PSI
put another
on-
15 in.
Yeah, the PSI on Earth at sea level is 14.7. So if you go up to the near vacuum of space, that's only a 14.7 PSI differential. And
No
not
problem.
that the Tesla tires could have exploded anyway, but most tires can probably deal with that 14.7 PSI differential.
It baffles them that people understand material science. It just baffles. All right.
I know.
Holy Smalls for $5 says, I wouldn't worry about Unicuck. He's a nobody, lower than a Flurf, less smart than Dan Steele. Mark Steele? And has less charisma than Kent Hovind. He is a nothing. Unicuck.
Less charisma than Kent Hovind.
That's negative charisma already.
Prepared for that. I'm not prepared for that.
You know, you can't have negative pressure, but Kent Hovind proves that you can have negative charisma.
And IQ.
Manny Karen says, for 15 shekels, I don't have 1,000 subscribers or a channel, and I actually have a brain. What's going on? Amazing,
What is
Manny.
going on?
Manny Karen. Poor Arwen. Oh, you know what I did? Craig, I told you this. Brian, and audience, I downloaded. I have 4K downloader. I downloaded all of Arwen. All.
When he downloaded all of Arwen, Brian, what he means is every single video that Arwen has ever put out, he, through the internet, downloaded it. There's some algorithm out there that had to manually go through every single one of Arwen's. Basically, what I'm saying is when the AI uprising happens, it's Toon's fault.
But I'm in good hands, though, because I've already heard from the AI that I probably won't be the one being.
She said maybe. She
maybe.
said I might let him live.
If you don't know, people, it was in Craig's video from, was that yesterday or today?
Today, yeah.
Today.
Doing very well. If you haven't seen it, please go and watch it. I think it's one of the best.
It's a good one. But yeah, I mean, I'm on the good side of Pal, so.
She thinks you're cute for some reason.
I don't know. Whatever.
When I asked what the negatives were about you, she went, well, he is human.
Yeah, true. As far as you know, people. As far as you know.
And she is a super sentient, powerful AI with access to nuclear launch codes.
Don't. Oh, jeez. All right. Dr. Unsensible has a member chat who's been a member for 3 months. Says, it's a sexy MC Tune / FTFE sandwich. And we've got Brian Kirby in the middle.
Are you saying that me and you are bread and Brian is our filling?
Right there. We can put our hands up there. Go ahead, Craig. There you go. All right, there it is. Oh, a little farther. A little closer. There you go. One more. Keep going. Right there we go. All right.
Finding it a bit hard to follow sometimes when you guys are talking about long words. To be honest,
long words, more than four letters.
Yeah, but I'm okay with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
It's okay. Not everybody can handle 5-letter words.
Let's just ask Nathan Oakley how he feels.
So you don't need the toilet anymore. Why? Because your body has reabsorbed all of what was contained in your bladder that you would consider waste.
Again, please.
Oh my gosh.
Can I have that again?
So you don't need the toilet anymore. Why? Because your body has reabsorbed all of what was contained in your bladder that you would consider waste. Well, it's not waste, or your body would. There's no way it would reabsorb it.
For example, transparency, subpar.
Oakley's so good. Oakley wants he asks the best questions.
Straight up piss.
Now I'd like to know how my balls taste.
Make sure I'm not.
Now I'd like to know how my balls
taste. I'm not going mad, and I'm not. This is not an audible hallucination.
So you don't,
guys. Right, can you make me full screen 1 sec, Toon?
Okay. Oh, look
how many people are in this chat talking about how cool it is to drink pee.
Hold on a second.
Look at them.
Well, I gotta. All right, you gotta present. Can you present? Or no, you're not presenting. You don't. You're doing it differently. All right, here we go. It's up. People can see. Oh, yeah, all those people
in a chat, and they're all talking about how awesome it is to drink piss.
Ugh. Why?
Oh my God.
Why, flat earthers? Why do you need to do that?
Oh, the days of Patricia being part of the flat earth scene.
She wised up and left. Good for her.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, fed up of Mark Sargent staring at her.
Yeah. Hey, balanced truths. Why do you drink your own piss? Do you like the taste?
It's just like if I just came out one day and went, "Hey, I want a shit sandwich," you wouldn't be up for it, would you?
No. No.
Bodily fluids.
What would you like to drink? I've got orange juice, Coke, Pepsi, spiders, urine. Spiders? You like spiders? Okay. What? No?
I'm not really doing this, but I mean, there does seem to be quite a strong link between the sort of all-natural crowd and this kind of thing. I watched this documentary about 5-6 years ago called Raw Food Junkies, I think, health food junkies or something like that. And it's people who went too far only eating raw food diets. they had quite a pungent, like they wanted to drink their piss for some reason. It seems, yoga crowds and stuff as well. Apparently, people who get overly into a topic, and then there's an algorithm, isn't there, that sends them.
It sends some videos on that, I suppose. Yeah. Is there a slot in the database at YouTube that says check flat earther, send them piss videos?
They'll watch it.
Flat earther until you've had a glass of your own special juice.
I'm a moron.
It's
Yes,
brilliant.
he is.
It's brilliant.
I mean,
I can actually engage with this sort of thing and find it funny, though.
I just don't know. I mean, I know some people say in an emergency and stuff. I just don't know if I could. I don't know if I could, put out a glass, take a piss, and then,
that there's many ways to filter it that I would work on before I would tip back.
You can make it into bubble tea. Bubble tea. You can gellify your you can gellify your own urine and make it into bubble tea. Turns out
that sounds even worse. I don't want urine.
Yeah, it's like urine with jizz in it.
Now,
that sounds appealing. Lovely.
That if you're into quasi-luminous and Devon Magi, you'll know that there are other bodily fluids that they consume, but let's not go there. Let's instead
binge thinker in the chat. Next topic, please.
Yes. All right. Earth is Life. Earth is Life for $5 says Witsit versus Professor Dave. This needs to happen.
Right. Is Witsit here? Was he in the chat?
No, it's just a super chat from Earth is Life.
Right. Well, I'm Professor Dave is willing to talk to another flat earther. And I would like to host it on my channel. So if someone clip this and send it to Witsit, if you want to debate Professor Dave, I can make it happen.
There we go. Do you got the globe? Do you got the double globes down in the panties, Witsit?
Aye.
We'll see. All right. We've got Nate Burgess for $5 says Qantas runs scenic flights from Australia to Antarctica. No dome collisions and no dome sightings.
Brilliant.
So what would it take? All right, here you go, Brian. What would it take for the flights? Because the distances on the AE map, which is the only map that they generally present, there's a couple that have other goofy maps, but for the most part, it's the AE map. How would the flights work, and how would the people be necessary to hide that?
You'd probably have to have some sort of teleportation network, to be honest. Portals, obviously powered by the Large Hadron Collider.
Well, there is some Pac-Man Earth flat earthers. You debated some yourself, didn't you, Toon?
Yeah, Awake Souls, Jason, Goofy Goofer, whatever his name is. Laffenbauer.
There's flat earthers that think that the Earth is flat, but none of the maps that we have are correct. That there's just points where it literally warps from one side to the other, like in a Pac-Man map.
Yeah, there's that one. There's Daznez.
Amazing.
Who's one of your guys's. There's Arwin, who uses a Mercator projection.
Yeah. Which would absolutely require a Pac-Man Earth.
For an explanation, just bring fiction into it.
Yeah, and let's see, we've got both Rob Skiba and Bob Nodell. I dinged my camera. All right, they say this is the right map. They've both had videos saying that the AE map lines are actually equidistant. That's what the equidistant they think in AE map.
They've made a map on the inside of a toilet roll.
This is their map, because if the distance between lines of longitude are the same, there's just as many lines of longitude here as there are here as there are here. This is the only map that matches that toilet paper roll of Earth. So all right, I gotta fix my focus. All right. What's the cat doing there? So cute.
Yeah, he's wait. People prefer to look at that than me, obviously.
How do they think that looks like from an outsider's perspective? The roll of toilet paper. Obviously, you were trying to put it in by turning it.
I'm applying their words, and I built the map that they described with their words. But they don't think it's this. They think it's still flat. They just don't realize that the words that they used mean that this is what they described. They're not smart enough to even understand their own words.
So they still describe the curved Earth, just a wrong curved Earth.
Yeah.
Sadly enough, though, it makes more sense than quite a lot of the others, though, doesn't it? Like,
except that what's off the top? What's here? Because there are flights that would go here, right? But the distances wouldn't work here either. Because just like on the AE map, the distances don't work in the southern hemisphere. On this map, the distances wouldn't work either. They actually would go straight east-west, like FE Banjo tries to do. And how dishonest or mentally handicapped do you have to be to think that just straight east-west, like plotting a flight route on a Mercator projection is what he does. Then he's like, hey, that's the globe map, he says. And it didn't match the emergency stop that they did. But that's not the actual route that they would fly on a globe. That's the actual route that they would fly on this dumb thing. But he's not even smart enough to figure that out.
He's just not smart. That's it. Sarcasm in the chat says, can we have an FTFE MC Toon Portal 1-2 stream? Toon, you ever played Portal?
It's been many moons since I played.
We could do the Portal 2 2-player expansion together. That would be fun.
I've never played Portal 2. Just Portal 1. And it was
so
not
good.
Much. But maybe. I could. Vincent Florquin comes again with for a 10 euro, says it's actually more simple than that. You can't have weather in a closed atmosphere because of the lack in pressure gradient. That's true. If gravity didn't exist, there would be no pressure gradient.
Absolutely not.
Yet there is. And then you wouldn't have enough pressure differentiation to make a difference to have significant weather. Which cat is this? Is this the one that was in the picture as a kitten?
Yes. Yeah, this is Dave. He's a little bit more grown up now.
Oh, okay.
Gorgeous little boy. Look at that beard.
Yeah, I like his eyes.
Yeah, you like a chin scratch, buddy.
I'm surprised I haven't been handed a cat yet. It'll happen. The Sun Express says, can Batman airwalk Craig to the magical Lake Titicaca? So, all right, I intend to, and I haven't done it yet, but I intend to offer flat earthers while they debate me, just during the debate, that if they can tell me the location of an observer, get the position fix using celestial navigation, that I will give them uniquely for each live stream. Then I'll send them $100 on Bitcoin. So people can guess where I might have some of these locations be from.
I think the next time we have a debate of that premise, we have to have the flat earther present their evidence first.
Oh yeah, they go first. Yep. The thing is that will any agree to it again?
Yeah, to be honest.
And what would have happened if we would have had John go first?
I don't know, because he clearly doesn't know how to do it.
It would have been an absolutely different stream, and probably Ruhif's presentation wouldn't have happened until after John rage quit.
No. Oh, sorry, someone's turned on the Gary bot.
Gary bot.
Yeah. It's gone rogue. It left my system. I'm not in control anymore.
Did it gain sentience? Sort of?
God, no.
Okay.
It's a flat Earth bot. It can gain sentience.
That's right. I'm sorry.
It gains stupidity.
So yeah, all right. So flights, and we kind of got off track. Flights,
yeah.
The Southern Hemisphere flights would, and all of them really, would have to go in drastically different locations. So they'd have to do portals of some sort.
And how would we hide these portals?
Well, maybe they're just magical, and the pilots know their location.
Yeah, I think if you've got portals, making them stealth portals is probably a bit more power as well. You've already got that technology. They're just like mirages, perhaps. They appear at will. Perhaps we are using alternate reality physics after all.
Yeah, they can just make up whatever crap they want. So I guess.
Yeah,
wait, now I think about it, the portals actually explain another conspiracy theory, right? Because if there's portals, you don't need that much fuel, which explains why jet fuel isn't real.
There you go. It's just compressed air. Can you imagine? The actual intense pressure that you would have to maintain to power a flight? The amount of pressure you'd have to have in there would
Did
be
you know Nathan
quite
Thompson?
dangerous.
He took that the next step and he said F1 cars are also just powered by air compressors.
Why would you invent that? Why would you invent such a dumb idea? For why?
What I don't think they realize is that an air compressor kind of requires an external power source.
Yeah,
it doesn't take air in and compress it. That's not how it works.
When they come in for a pit stop, clearly nobody is recompressing the air in there. So somebody on the crew would have to pressurize the tank ahead of time, and then the people that are putting fuel in have to fake putting fuel in, but do so good at it that sometimes they spill.
So, Brian, do you think the people that are pretending to fill up the jets with fuel know about the flat Earth?
Do they know about it?
I think they've got to be. You've got to be warned about the severity. If that's your job, if that's your occupation, and you're going to work every day, and it's the one thing you can't forget. They're like, whatever you do, you've got like check locks in the morning, turn the lights, make sure the alarm's set. Whatever you do, don't forget to help us perpetuate the flat Earth lie.
Yeah,
that's a disciplinary.
Their job is to pretend to put jet fuel into planes. So
if you don't do that, you ruin everything. So you rely on everyone. That's probably quite an entry level job. Like as far as shills go, I imagine that's where you guys did your sort of cutting your teeth training.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
You're on that first time. Right, if you can get this right, you can become a YouTuber. That helps us keep up this life.
Craig, here's the ridiculousness of it. Who would they put out there to be the ones that are, debunking it? Us goofballs? Hell no.
I know, right? I'm some disabled ex-submariner, that hasn't done engineering or really studied math or anything for like 20 plus years. I live in a council house in a village in Scotland, and apparently the infinite governments of the world are coming to me.
Make you feel good, make you feel special, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I got
Why
called
me?
the first time about a month ago, and I was a little bit like, I'm progressing. It was like, I'm not hit 1,000 subs either, but I'm not bothered about that. It's being called a shill that made me realise
you've attained.
Does this look like the living room of a man paid big bucks by NASA?
I don't know why you painted over the floral wallpaper that was on the bottom there. That was kicking.
No, I think that had been here since the 80s.
Just to back that up, I want to show you the technology they give to YouTube shills when they live stream. I'm just going to show you what I've got my actual camera set up on.
This is
a pot of protein powder with a selfie stick strapped to it with electrical tape, and I can't use more of the protein than that because otherwise it's not heavy enough to support the camera. You know, it works. It's standard issue when you first join up.
$17 billion a day budget.
Toon, do you see this cat here? This one that now looks like a sunflower. That's Cookie. Yes. She's a bit mental because she's really quite old, and she's been over grooming herself. So to stop her doing that, we've now got a sunflower around her neck.
Is she a flat earther cat?
She's not that smart, so she might be. But she would have knocked everything off the edge by now, that's for sure. Cookie. Instead of, it just makes her lick that instead of herself.
Well, that's better. We've determined that Turtle is a flat earther.
Yeah.
He's dumb. All right. I love this. I love when flat earthers show that they don't understand even the most basic geometry.
Is that Gary saying that?
Yes, Gary. So I'll show Gary.
I don't know why they think imaginary lines can't be straight.
I mean, none of what they say makes any sense. So here is Gary, just for you. Gary says that for some reason the baseline must be flat, right? So the surface of the Earth, he thinks, must be flat in order to measure this angle. I know you two aren't seeing this, so sucks to be.
Yeah, I can see it on the stream.
So yeah, for some reason Gary thinks this is not possible. So Gary, please describe how this is not possible. All flat earthers.
Warrior thinks it's not possible. Sleep and Warrior says it's not possible because according to Einstein, mass warps space-time, so there is no straight line, so we can't use a sextant if gravity is real.
There you go. And I've asked him myself, could you just show the math on how much it gets warped to see if it's within the margin of error of the measurement device? Which of course he won't do because he can't do math because he's a flat earther. But we know that somewhere buried around 8 or 9 digits deep would be where you'd find, or deeper, where you'd find the deviation. But the measurement's only about three significant figures deep, so it isn't going to do much. Anyway, Gary, I look forward to your incredible description of how that's not possible.
Do you know maybe sometimes when flat earthers think they can do maths, it's because they can count. And they just think, that's math. Oh, I can count, so logically I can do math, so logically...
People just wait for later.
So because when they take off their shoes and socks, they can count to 20, all of a sudden they understand Einstein's tensor equations.
Yeah.
Hold on. I have this. The Dollar Store Jesus on TikTok. He accused Globy McGlobeface, who's going to be on later with me, of not being able to count to 1,000. And then he said, this was great. Here's what you do. You take, I got to get the numbers right. You take 100 of your friends and you count up all their fingers and toes, and then you get 1,000.
No.
He was trying to mock Globe Earthers' inability to count, and that's how he did it.
Maybe all his friends only have like a total of 10 digits each.
Maybe that's all he had. How many accidents would you have to remove half of your fingers and toes? Dewey, Cheatham, and Ho. I love that. It says they can count to 21 if they take their pants off too.
Excuse me.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
All right. Let's see. Are you ready? All right. Indie Tiger's sci-fi review says a Mercator projection doesn't have lines of latitude at equal distances, though. That's why you can't measure distances just anywhere on a Mercator projection map. That's right. It preserves angles, not distances. And Jiffy Cone says, I'm willing to chat with any of these flirfs. Now, apparently, Brian and FTFE, you are both flirfs, according to Jiffy Cones.
Jimmy, come and talk to us, flirfs.
So, in case people don't know, the Conspiracist is not a flirf, but he plays one on TV.
I know I look really dumb. I'm sure of that.
He,
I know what you're thinking. You look at me thinking that guy in the middle looks proper stupid.
Oh, God.
But even I know that it's not. It's not.
My wife had left some, I thought they were just little chips or something on my desk, but apparently they're wasabi peas.
I don't know. What are those?
You never had wasabi?
Oh, wasabi. Yes.
Yeah. These are wasabi peas. That just took a mouthful.
Stacy's mom says NASA asked me to shill for them, but I was busy. Of course, Stacy's mom, you were busy. All right. Oh, this is so cute. Cretan Bull, just for you, Craig, says, for 5 Canadian, disabled ex-submariner sounds like a superhero ordered off of wish.com.
What's your power? I say ow a lot.
Jimmy Cone says, I meant the flirfs in chat in all caps. $4 gone. All right. Sorry. Wish.com superhero. Jiffy Cones doesn't want to talk to you. Jiffy Cones wants to talk to Gary or Balanced Truth or YouTube. So, all right. YouTube, Gary and Balanced Truth. So search deep there. See if you can find any globes in your panties. Let's set it up.
Gary Webenenga in the chat insulting us by saying globies are like a bunch of immature teeny boppers. The irony of him saying it like that completely lost on him, of course.
Hey, it's simple, Gary. Show the geometry how this doesn't work.
Yeah.
Teeny boppers can explain that this works. You can't. To you, this diagram is magic. Magic.
Wizardry.
Oh, all right. So if you're the superhero from Wish.com, I am Batman from Wish.com. So says Meat Pickets. Thank you, Meat Pickets. I appreciate being Batman from Wish.com.
And the Conspiracist is a flat earther from Wish.com.
That's right. Oh, I missed this one. Delco says it's obvious satellites are actually suckerfish that clean the dome. Next time, do some research before coming on stream. Obviously, that's to you, Conspiracist. Duh.
What was it again?
The satellites are suckerfish that are on the dome to clean it. Do some research.
That's actually brilliant. I like that. Like maybe that's part of the, when the creator created this big dome that's engulfed in water somehow. So we're basically a sunken snow globe somewhere. But the way it gets cleaned and everything is you've got these fish that just sort of bite off the dirt, I suppose. Bacteria, they live off the bacteria that goes in it. That makes a lot more sense. Maybe we are wrong. Maybe that's the system. Maybe it doesn't require us.
Yeah, perfect sense. So Gary says your diagram is wrong. We don't live on a ball. Well, of course, that is your assumption, your presumption. You claimed this geometry is impossible. So you need to show how this geometry is not possible. Because you are doing the classic scientism. You are beginning with a pre-selected conclusion. Your pre-selected conclusion is the Earth is flat, and you're just discarding everything that doesn't match it. So, Gary, that's not how science is actually done, Gary. The way science is done is when the evidence points to something, you accept what the evidence says. So the evidence is that we can do celestial navigation with this type of a measurement, and we can get the accurate location. The evidence leads us to believe, Gary, that the Earth is spherical. You don't have any evidence that leads anyone to believe that the Earth is flat. All right, little fourth grade.
Or does he believe like refracted curvature?
That's right, refracted.
To correctly do celestial navigation, you have to incorrectly apply the radius of Earth.
Apparently. I love that he's like, well, he used the radius. Oh, and he applied that incorrectly. Oh, well, show the correct way. Obviously, the correct way would get a different answer then, because he got the right answer.
Yeah, so the incorrect way got it right. Brilliant.
Seems like he used the right way. All right, we got Darren Barron for $5 says howdy. And it has a cowboy hat. Howdy. If I had a cowboy hat, I would tip my hat to you, but I don't wear cowboy hats. I'm not much for country or Western. Hessifer says, for $5, thanks. Now counting to 21 will always sound creepy and gross. So, Conspiracist, do you think that the flat earthers can count to 21 without dropping trowel?
Oh, well, I just got that.
Be challenging sometimes, I reckon.
All right, I got a Discord DM from Dr. Unsensible. Let's see what we see. Let's see here. Oh, Dr. Nimrod. I got it. That could be meat pickets. All right. So Apophis Rex says that would be 20 and a quarter. All right, here's Gary's comedy show. The horizon is an optical limit where the space between the eye level and the surface cannot be resolved. There is no tangent line to a curve. Says somebody that doesn't have the faintest idea of how the Rayleigh criterion works, how geometry works, or how anything works. Gary, let me say this, Gary. Maybe this time it'll work. You're not smart. You don't understand any of these things. You're just saying crap that doesn't make sense. And the rest of the people around you see that you make these claims that don't make any sense. And we're not like, oh, wow, what a smart individual. We say, oh, wow, he's really dumb. Because, Gary, you are. I'm not saying it to be mean. You really are. These things are not intelligent things that you're saying. So
I've tried a new command with the Gary bot. I'll see if it works.
All right. Excellent.
I still find it upsetting that people get this lost. I do. Just on a human level, you know. It's a hell of a thing to dedicate your time to, isn't it?
Yeah, when it's so objectively wrong.
Yeah. You know, I saw Dan years ago, so a couple of years ago, saying about it's just a waste of some. You dedicate your time to that. There's so many more productive things out there, and a good friend of mine. I never thought of it like this before. I never heard anyone else say it. Like there's actual problems out there that's worth the attention. You know, like all the money during COVID that the British government, you know, spunked at our expense. That kind of legitimate thing that should be investigated and exposed. It's like if you've got a passion for investigating shenanigans and deceit and like wrong governments and exposing it based on evidence and projecting it to the world, find something relevant. Like it's a good ethos to have. Effective, like people get twisted, of course, but just the idea of being curious and like being passionate about finding out this, this kind of thing and being anti-government, use it properly. Or come to conclusions.
When I spoke with George Musser, a brilliant, world-renowned, astrophysicist, and I asked him what he thought about flat Earth, then he was like, to be honest, it doesn't annoy me that much because it is getting people to think about the world around them. It's just unfortunate that they so easily reach the wrong conclusions. Wondering about the world around you and trying to find out what reality is never a bad thing. It's just with the brainwashing that comes along with flat Earth, it becomes a bad thing.
I've learned so much, honestly, just from being part of this community. As you know, I never claim I know anything about science other than layman stuff that I pick up off the loop. But even then, this community taught me how to be skeptical of nonsense science and just to also appreciate what science has to go through. I think it was Conspiracy Cats a few years ago. It was like, scientists are quite socially reclusive people. They don't go out and socialise quite like everyone else. Like, their idea of a great Saturday night is getting one of their peers' papers that's newly published and tearing it to shreds over a bottle of wine or a couple of beers. So by the time something becomes scientific consensus, it's been picked apart by tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people across the planet. And very smart people, yeah. So when I think of that, and when I understand the reality of the enormity of what scientific consensus is, I am perfectly happy to go, you know about that, do you? Cool. And I know you guys have got people in the community that they've got experts in vaccines or epidemiology or virology and stuff that you go to for your different fields of expertise as well. And to think the arrogance of people thinking they can just go, no, I found this out and you haven't. Like, I've been doing this for fucking 14 days now.
14 days.
Yeah. Constant YouTube for 2 weeks against who is it in the community? He's got 2 degrees at MIT or something like that. It's madness. That's a pretty well respected educational institute, as far as I understand.
We've got a lot of very smart people in the community. You've got Dr. Clive Wells. You've got PhD Tony, obviously also a doctor. Got
Bill Bell is in the chat right now.
Dr. Phil Bell. Sorry, yeah, that's the one I was talking about. Who literally crashed something into the moon. Brilliant.
We've got Dr. Unsensible, who's apparently a doctor, because there's doctor in front of his name.
I mean, it's been so amazing, just honestly, just learning all that side of, just about what science can, just how solid it is once it's consensus. But also it makes me, like, when I was getting into like nutrition myself, I ended up stumbling across, just through the algorithm, stuff that I didn't understand, therefore started to believe on a sort of surface level, like about fluoride and things like that and GMO stuff, because it's drip fed, isn't it? And then it was as soon as they said anti-vax, I was like, hang on a minute. You're talking out your ass. But it just goes to I literally understand when I look back sometimes when I watch your guys' videos and I'm like, I have no idea what they're saying. But if I didn't know that I didn't know, I could easily fall. Not me easily, but I just don't think anyone's too perfectly smart people can go, hang on a minute, because you might grow up thinking that one word, if you take in information when you're younger, you find out you hear one word, you end up remembering it wrong, and you start applying twisted logic to stuff over time. You could convince yourself, and it's really hard to be some people, men especially, frankly, find it really hard to admit they were wrong. Like as a general population, like scientists love it. If anything, that's what gets their rocks off. Just going, oh shit, I need to go and do that whole thing again. They love it, and we need people like that, don't we? That's how we progressed as far as a society. Imagine if the whole world was always populated by people that only ever saw pseudoscience.
We saw the movie.
You and I, we wouldn't be talking right now because we'd never invent anything decent.
Yeah. Well, there's the movie Idiocracy.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it, but I've heard the content. So
PJCnet, who I've debated, says there's masses of evidence for flat Earth. Yet when I debated him, all that he could say was, well, he thought that it was simulation. And I've since invited him to come on and present evidence and have a debate again. He's like, I don't have anything. Where's the masses of evidence, PJ? Why don't you just why hide it? Why don't you just share it with the world?
Because there isn't any.
Just know it. Look, just backed out the last. Right, okay.
Yeah. But we kind of have a soft spot for PJ.
Apart from when he says things like he did in the Discord and he gets banned.
Well, there's that. All right, I got a couple other things here. We got Vincent Florquin. Love that. Is that your real name? I love it. Says, how do you guys all stay mentally healthy after debating so many flirts? Well, NASA sends me some treatment disguised as 1980s style artificially flavored soda. What about you, Craig? How do you stay?
How do I stay healthy?
Mentally healthy, yeah.
How do I stay mentally healthy? I have NASA bring me a large IV drip every evening that contains just the distilled tears of Flurfs.
Ooh, that's powerful stuff.
It gets injected directly into my eyeballs whilst I sleep.
Into your eyeballs?
It's the only way. Closer to the brain.
All right. Well, Brian, when you get there, NASA will hook you up too, no doubt.
Sorry, I'm making progress.
It'll happen.
When do you want promoted?
Well, the promotions usually happen in April at the annual breakdancing competition at the moon, at the secret NASA moon base.
Secret NASA moon base.
Never mind. These are not the droids you're looking for.
Regarding having, keeping mentally sane though, like because I do often sort of wonder that about you guys, not specifically, but like people who full-time debaters, because even I have to have a bit of a sort of break from it. But then some conspiracy theories are a lot harder to take than to hear about than others. Some of them are like pretty sinister and end up in murders and stuff.
Yeah,
and they're the ones. Like I've been debating. I was in my writing. I've been trying to fit in loads of different conspiracy theories to make jokes about because there's just more content. But then I've decided to go and keep it more simple and less is more, and just deal with the funny ones, because I think you try and make someone who's a flat earther also into QAnon and Holocaust denial, they're a different kind of person. And I can only imagine. I've actually heard a couple of YouTubers who do deal with people that are Holocaust deniers saying that they had to get out of it quite quickly because it's just vile.
Yeah.
Whereas there's generally a sort of healthy respect with flat earthers and the debunker community. When anything horrible happens to one another's community, people have passed away and stuff. There's never not any. It's always a level of decency and respect. Whereas in QAnon circles and deep state sort of stuff, did you guys see Boris Johnson referring to the deep state the other day? By the way,
not me.
Did we?
It looks like he's now trying to get that conspiracy theory vote on his side as well. But that whole type of person, I've seen some of the messages they send to people, and it's just like, you couldn't do that continuously as a debunker. Flat Earth is just about sort of manageable, but
I mean, it does get hard just constantly speaking to the stupidest people on the planet.
I find it quite rewarding when you sort of get someone out of the rabbit hole, not to pat yourself on the back or anything, but just I'm quite happy when I see so and so's.
It's like one in every 100 people that we talk to, though. That's the thing.
It's very hard, isn't it? But it is quite nice when you see someone and they're a lot.
You and I actually have debated so much of the flat Earth world that we don't just dig through the bottom of the barrel; we scrape all the way through the flat disc of Earth to find our next opponent.
People now, kind of thing.
All right,
but same people over and over again.
Greg needs to go here pretty soon, and I think we should let the conspiracist go too. It's past his bedtime. His mom's gonna be upset that he's up this late. Let me read a couple super chats here, and then we're gonna wrap it up because I do have another one coming up too, and it's gonna be a doozy. We got Obi-Wan for $10. Says, okay, I have pictures from the 80s when I flew an F-14 over 70,000 feet that show the curve. Need to pull them out and scan so I can show the flurfs in my own pictures that I took with my own camera. That would be fantastic. And if you want, I'll happily host them on my website. And then David Lee says, have you guys seen the latest derp from Brian's Logic? It's so painful.
I tried watching the most recent video from 2 weeks ago. I think he's talking about Brian's trying to explain where the origin of Earth's radius comes from. And he's trying to equate it to like sticks and shadows, and actually in the sky is where the measurement of the radius actually came from. And I mean, yeah,
they never even try to substantiate anything.
He's one of the hardest people to actually listen to, honestly.
It's creative, though, isn't it? I do admire the imagination of these people.
Yeah, they have to have some imagination.
Yeah, it's almost like
flat Earth. That takes some fucking imagination.
Yeah, so they should have been like writers or artists or something. There's something. A lot of them, there's something great in there. I nearly said brilliant, but I don't want to go too far. But
do you think you're an artist or a writer? What's the biggest contribution you've ever given to humanity?
Hey guys, you want to hear a funny story while we're all chatting, dude? I'm dating a first grader.
What was
that? Nathan Thompson is dating a first grader. Oh, and well, Nathan Oakley, he has done his own contributions.
And then I'd like to know how my balls taste.
Hear about those.
There it is.
He keeps his contributions to himself. Actually, Nathan,
I went in and was absolutely humiliated based on my total ignorance of everything I said.
All of what was contained in your bladder that you would consider waste. Well,
all right.
There's another way of saying talking shit.
Yeah. Oh, Santos, hi. What have you been up to today?
You know, I want to be a urinator. This morning, I went to the toilet. When I was a young boy, I grew up on the farm. I'm a country boy. And I used to fuck the cows and the pigs. I used to fuck the pigs, and the cows would come, and I would pat them and look into their eyes.
Sorry, you did the pigs and the cows. That's quite impressive.
He's got skills. It's tantric. It's something about tantric. Anyway.
Sorry.
Let's see. We've got Waikikamukow says Bigfoot is a dimensional jumper. Look into it.
Could be.
It would have to be. Yep. That explains everything. All right. Craig, anything before we wrap up here?
Thanks for having me on. And always good to talk to you, Conspiracist. I can't wait to actually do some work with you. I know we've been chatting about getting it done for a long time. If you guys haven't subscribed to the Conspiracist, it's a personal favor to me. Go and do it. Also, go and watch my new video, episode 69. Nice. Of Flirfs Are Idiots, which was all about the amazing debate recently on MC Toon's channel between retarded curvature and
Ruhif is a master. Just a master.
Yeah, absolutely. Please go and check that out and share it with all your friends and subscribe to FTFE. See you soon.
And the Conspiracist. I put your link in chat there, people. He's got some good stuff planned.
I'm not used to signing videos like Craig is, so thanks for having me. There's a link apparently somewhere.
It's in the description and it's in the live chat.
There's some videos you can watch.
There you go. All right, everybody. I have 2 attempts by flat earthers to explain the downward acceleration that will be. They're both different, and they're both hilariously wrong. I'll be covering them in a bit over an hour, so be sure to pop in for that. and we'll see you all next time.